Death by Water Part 3. And here was I thinking, it's only a couple of lines, be done in 5 seconds. So in the poem it says, forgot the cry of gulls and the deep sea swell. But in Dans le Restaurant it said, forgot the cries of gulls and the Cornish sea swell. So the cry of gulls maybe links back to Jesus wept. Possibly thinking of gull as like a seabird that links to the albatross and the rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. So was identified as a Christian soul at first. He had this connection, affinity with it, and then he shot it with a crossbow, and then hangs it around his neck. I was intrigued by the word bow there because it came up in a Mansfield poem and I didn't really know what it meant. So I was thinking about bow as in the front of a ship, also a stem. So then I found the stem hieroglyph, papyrus stem, wodge, or watch, and wodge, meaning the Great Green Sea. So that hieroglyph is associated with green, youth, fertility. Mediterranean, I think, was known as the Great Green Sea. I think green also links with Osiris as well. But then I was also thinking the cormorant being a sea animal, it's a contraction of the Latin corvus marinus, sea raven or ravens, which were associated with Elijah being fed. Also looking for land in Noah's Ark, but I don't think the ravens returned. I think it was the doves. In the Bible, they're classed as unclean, possibly because they're actually sacred to Athena. And I thought of the raven himself, his horse in Macbeth, inevitably like death will come and the imminent death of King Duncan. So I think the Cornish sea swell, like there links to the Lizard Peninsula and Houston. In Death by Water then he says, and the profit and loss. But in Dans le Restaurant he adds, and the cargo of tin. So that's where I was thinking the link with the Stannery Town and Houston. So profit and loss. Homophone of prophet, as in Sybil, Elijah, etc. But profit, when in business, is black and loss is red, which I was thinking at first it leads to alchemy, so Negredo and Rubedo stages, but this is where I came to Tavistock AFC. I was looking for like a black and red club, and quite often I thought it was going to be associated with snooker, but this was the first thing that came up. I suspect the red and gold from earlier also links to some kind of football club or something like that. So black and red, the colours of Tavistock AFC, when they amalgamated with 3 other clubs, Tavistock Comrades, Bannerwell Blues and Tavistock West End in 1939. The club where they host their sort of events is also called the Red and Black. They're also known as the Lambs. So in Death by Water we have a current under the sea picked his bones in whispers. But in Dans le Restaurant we have a current under sea took him very far away. My first thought there was far away. Mansfield mentions faraway farms connected with the Golden Dawn in the TB poem. And so the current under the sea could be like current affairs, news, perhaps the outbreak of World War I. Previously talked about current as in water, electrical, and also could be raisins. I also thought of current sea, Dannery coinage and moneta.